Hey, ¿qué pasa, Calexico? Welcome back to the podcast. Like always, before we begin, I want to thank a couple of people. First of all, I want to start with my friends here at Calexico Brewing Company for allowing me to record today's episode here. I really appreciate it. Also want to thank all my anchor sponsors, Camilo, Jake, Edward Velasquez, Eddie Lopez from Root Creative, Norma Galindo, Sergio's Tacos and Hotdogs, serving the Imperial, San Diego, and Yuma counties with over 8 years of experience. With Mexicali-style hot dogs and taquizas, contact Sergio at 760-562-0057 or look for Sergio's Tacos and Hot Dogs on Facebook. I also want to thank Eric Reyes from Los Amigos de la Comunidad. Thank you for your sponsorship. Today we have a returning guest.
Yeah. Happy to be back.
Yeah, my guest today is Gonzalo Chalo Gerardo. Thank you for being here.
And thank you for the invitation, man. It's great. I was looking forward to this.
Last time we met, I was listening to the episode this morning. It was back in July of 2019.
Wow,
it's crazy. It was episode like 50 or something.
Yeah, and
I'm almost at 150. So it's been a while, and it seems like it's been even longer because of everything that happened. And, you know, that year was it?
Yes, towards the end of the year.
Yeah, towards the end of the year. Yeah. That's when we went through. It was crazy how things changed like and drop of a coin and I mean when we first talked was you had not barely but you were had become police chief. You recently announced your plans to retire, so it's like
so that you welcomed me in with an interview. I was probably like a year into it. When because I was made the interim chief in March of 2018. I was given a contract December 2018, and so but I think the time you probably caught me was halfway through the year. I already had been a full-time chief for about a year, about 6 months, and almost over a year as interim heading the department. Yeah. So I mean it's been a great ride, man. I have no complaints. Calexico is political. As a chief of police, you probably, a lot of people don't know you. And a lot of people do know you since I'm from Calexico. So it was fun. It's been really fun.
So I was listening to the episode and, you said that you always wanted to be a police officer as a little kid. Your dad was in the service. You grew up like, yes, sir, no, sir. So has, after, this long career, do you think that you would go back and tell yourself, be a police officer?
You know what? Most definitely. It's a calling. People don't understand it, but, being a police officer, a firefighter, or whatever, a teacher, it's something that, you, as a young kid, especially in law enforcement or in the public safety area, it's a calling that you want to do it. I don't think somebody can wake up after graduating from college and say, hey, I want to be a policeman officer. I want to be a police officer or a firefighter now. It's you have it. I mean, this is not to me, the way I look at it, it's not just a job. You got to take it as a career because you're in public service and you got to take the good with the bad. And you have to be willing to know that you're going to see a lot more ugly stuff than good stuff. And so you are exposed to a lot more than if you were, doing something like working in a classroom where you're dealing with juvenile problems and trying to teach. And worst case scenario, you get the ugliest of the ugliest, which is a school shooting or some kid hit you or some violence. With us, you're going to see violence all the time. You're going to see tragedy most of the time. And so that's the difference. And I mean, I can't compare myself to somebody being in a war zone because, I mean, my hat's off to the veterans, that are out there and veterans that have gone to war, especially combat veterans. Since my dad was one, I know how it affects them. I can't compare to them, but it's the closest to, a police officer and a firefighter, somebody that works emergencies and responding ambulance crews is the worst of the worst. Yeah. So, but I would do it all over again, dude. I think the only thing that I would change though is finish and do my schooling sooner than trying to do it towards the end.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's the only thing that I say I should have done a little bit different. and I encourage people that do that is get your education out of the way, because it's kind of hard to do it while you're in charge of you're a lieutenant, you're a sergeant, or you're a chief, and you're trying to finish your school. And I mean, I couldn't, if I didn't want to, I didn't have to finish it, but it was something that I set my goal to doing. And believe it or not, I'm almost done. I got two more classes left, and I'm done. COVID really affected it. I think I would have been done had it not been for COVID, because I was moving along really good, and then COVID hit. And I'm not a real online person, so it's hard. I need the face-to-face interaction.
Yeah. I think it's not only you. I think a lot of the kids were affected by that online schooling. It was a year where it was crazy how. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of kids, I saw a lot of kids struggle. My kids, personally, my son struggled a lot online, and some of his friends struggled. Then a lot of other kids did very good. So online's not for everybody. I mean, and when you're trying to force it, it's not good.
Yeah. I mean, I took a couple of online classes, and I think it was, especially those classes were something that I enjoyed because it was an English class.
Yeah. Okay.
So you would just go in there and join the discussion and turn in your work. But then I took a math class, and that was like a big mistake, because math is more, you need to see examples, you need to talk to the teacher, and you learn from other questions that other students are asking. So there's things that you can take online, but other things that you need to be present.
It depends on the teacher too. I mean, you might have a professor or a teacher in the high school level that, I mean, he's bad teaching in person. Now you throw him in an online setting, and I mean, he's like that movie like Ben Stein and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Bueller. It's in monotone voice. Doesn't know how to interact with the kids. And I saw it in some of my kids' classes. I saw it, in our stuff too. It's like, there's no interaction. And that's the way we are, man. I mean, but COVID did really mess us up.
Yeah, for sure. Talking about COVID, and, policing and, your career, like you started, was it like 30 years ago, more or less?
It started in 1991 as a full-time police officer. I mean, like I said, we go back to my history. 1984, Police Explorer, 1989, 90, Police Reserve, 1991, full-time police officer. I went to the San Bernardino Sheriff's Academy, Class 105, honors are live, hoorah. I have to say it just in case, if somebody was listening to it. But yeah, and then from on, I just kept on going up the ladder. I mean, worked investigations, worked different assignments. And like I told you in the last podcast, my best assignment to this date that showed me, and I've never been a guy. Yeah, I think I've been pretty, humble guy. Was working the housing authority, man. That opened my eyes when I had all these housing sites and had to go to the Pichoneras, had to go down to Ghost Town, had to go to La Garra, the KGs areas and stuff like that. It's like it taught me how to deal with people, how to learn how to speak to people, and not to go out there and say, well, everybody's a bad guy in the housing when it's not. I mean, very good families in the housing. And like I said, you have that 5% that you spend 95% of your time dealing with, but then you have the other 95% that are like excellent citizens. So it made me, I think, brought me down to earth and say, hey, look, dude, you're a cop, but you're not better than them. And you know what? They're great people. I mean, I remember I had to walk all the housing parts, and I would get water, Jamaica, I mean, during the Christmas season, man, I remember it came to the point after because I did it for 3 years. At my third year, man, I did not want to get off and walk sometimes during Christmas because everybody wanted to have me taste their tamales, have pozole, have menudo, buñuelos. Yeah. And I was like, man, I said, it was good for me because I would get to eat, but then they would ask me, who's tamales? I heard you went go eat tamales over there, but you didn't accept tamales from me. Wow, it's because I just eaten. And wow, you eat some. Then and then after they give you their food, they say, well, whose were better, mine or hers? And I was like, well, I mean, they were a little bit different, but and they always wanted to put me in the predicament, in that position. I said, no.
Yeah, and
I refuse.
It's crazy because growing up in Las Pichoneras, that's something that I tell everybody. We were like a big family. Yeah. Still to this day, some of my best friends are my friends from Las Pichoneras, and it's crazy that food was something that, we know that we could, we always had somebody's house to go and, have lunch or dinner, hang out. And, their mom were always like, hey, vamos a comer, sit down and eat with us. And that's something that I always appreciate, one of the families, La Pola, she was the one that always, like, if we were hanging out outside her house, like, she gave us something
to feed you guys. Huh?
And it's, it's funny that, happened to you too.
Yeah. I mean, I lived that, where they always offered me stuff, wanted me to taste their food, wanted me to do this and that, and great people.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And like you said, there's different people, yeah. and especially when, Pichoneras, I think it's like 90 some apartments.
Yeah. So 92, I think it was. It's their, I don't know if they maybe, they haven't added any.
No, I don't think so. They added some traders in the back. I don't know if there's like a.
One of maintenance traders probably. I mean,
no, I think it's like a school.
Oh, okay.
Like a little daycare or something. I drove right now when you called me. I came a little bit early, so I had a chance to kind of like cruise around the sketches. Yeah, I hadn't done it in a while, and I was like, I was driving around. But yeah, they put a trailer in the back. I think it's like a daycare or like preschool or something like that. But going back 30 years, and then these last 2.5 years, what changed? From the beginning when you, as policing wise?
Well, you know what? One of the things that changed that it really affected us older guys is the fact that the laws changed. So even before COVID, they did AB 109, which was a realignment, they call it. So now they let more people out of jail, and they made the counties handle all this. More probation officers, more people did their time in county jails. The jails themselves, they're trying to downsize them because of overcrowding. So they started with that. We didn't like it because nobody's going to prison. And you know what? Yeah, some people deserve to go to prison. Some people don't. But most of the people that do end up in prison is because they did something bad. So to me, when you start putting them in county jail, they look at it like, well, you know what? I'm going to go out and commit a crime because the consequence is not that bad. I'm not going up to state jail no more where it's tougher. I'm going to county jail. And if the guy is a tough guy in the county system, he goes into the jail, he runs the jail. But if you send them up to a real prison, they're just a regular guy, unless they got,
connections.
Their connections into the part of a prison gang. So it started with that. Then Proposition 4757 passed, where the laws were now the bail stuff, and then what used to be felonies became misdemeanors. Now you start doing a lot of site release. So to me, as a police officer, it's like we go through our jobs, we put people in jail for committing a crime, but the problem is now I feel bad for the victims because these people get released. And then the victims see these people, and these guys are jerks, or not the guys, but I'm just saying the suspects or the subjects or the person that got arrested. They go by these people's homes and they go out there and make fun of them, and they go and say, "Hey, look, man, I'm out of jail. I only spent 2 days in jail. Nothing's gonna happen to me." Then COVID hits, dude. COVID changed everything. So now COVID, the laws are. The state judicial council said nobody's going to jail. Only things that they're going to accept are violent felonies and domestic violence stuff. Everything else is, zero bail, no bail, or you do site release. And they made it harder for us where the people that did go to jail, now we have to go first, get them medically screened at the hospital, get a clear COVID test, and take them to the jail, and then the jail can still refuse it. So when I have 3 officers and a sergeant working a patrol shift, and I get 2 good arrests, and they have to get COVID screened, and COVID, the hospital is their priorities are the public. Mm-hmm. Their priorities are not my officers going in there because you got people that have COVID that are dying, and now my guys are spending 3 to 4 hours there in the hospital. Waiting to get cleared, and then they go to so these guys are out of the city for 4 hours. Yeah. We had cases where people were out of the city for almost the whole shift. Yeah. And then to not get booked, that made it really hard. So what we started doing, since our jail here in the county, we can hold people up to 6 hours. We started putting them in there and holding them in there. And right at hour 5.5, we would release them. And these jerks would go out and say, "Hey, tell my guys, see you tomorrow if you catch me. There were times, at least 6, 7 that I know, where we caught them, released them after 5 hours, and then we caught them again right before the end of the shift, doing the same thing, breaking into downtown.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I wanted to ask you, where, that kind of falls into is that, we have a lot of people complaining that, we have a lot of break-ins downtown.
Yeah. You have your arsons, you have... and it all goes, people don't realize that all this goes back to the fact that they're not being booked. And the jail, they do book our arsonists, but now we have 4 people doing it. So we rotate them. They get arrested, they come back out, then we go dry for a good, 2-3 weeks, and then we get hit 4 days in a row. But see, my thing too there is, we need to do more stuff. But also the victims and the people need to clean up their areas. So these guys don't go around burning, bringing their own trash to burn. They go around and they look at your yard and you have old tires and pieces of wood and pallets and stuff. They'll gather it together and then they'll come back later on and they'll set the fire and they'll leave. And so it kind of, it's a little small kindling. And then when they're 2 blocks away, that thing starts catching on. And before you know it, now you have a whole fence. Yeah. Some people have vegetation up against their fence. So I tell people, our code enforcement in our office start going and say, hey, look, you need to clean up your backyard, because even though, it's not really your fault and our fault, but these guys are just gathering stuff.
It's attracting them.
And so we've caught people. But it's just, like I said, they're not going to prison. They're not going to jail. But my guys are out there. They take it very hard. They take it seriously because it happens on their shift. When you do that, the shift sergeant, he owns that because we, myself and my lieutenant, will give the guy a hard time. Hey, what'd you guys do all night? Sleep? I said, you guys got hit 4 times. We know they didn't sleep, but we throw it out there and try get these guys to go out there and do more. I'm shorthanded, dude. I have 3 openings right now, probably 4 pretty soon. But we can't hire people. It's not because the city doesn't have the money to hire them. It's because the candidates that are coming out of academies, you can't hire them because they won't pass their backgrounds. And that's the hardest thing that's going on right now. I had a kid that came in after so many. I think he was there for 4 weeks. Comes in, he says, "You know what, Chief? I'm going to resign. This is not what I wanted to do." Right. I didn't think this, and I thought he was doing well. It surprised me, it caught me off guard. But at the same time, my hat's off to the young man, because he said, you know what, I don't want to do it after 4 weeks. Instead of me investing more money in him, more training on him, or him getting hurt, or one of my officers hurt, because the guy's mentally is not into the job. And it's something that you got to be mentally prepared. Yeah, for sure. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, I think I had a friend that recently started working with you guys, Rangel.
Yeah, that guy's great. And I'll tell you, one of the things is I think with him is just the fact that he's a little bit older. And I think that's one of the things I see him as something he's always wanted to do. I don't know if he's told you that, and so I think he has a good chance. All he's got to do is go through the program, do what he's got to do, pass probation, and that's it. The guy will continue doing it for the rest of his life or career, and he can retire after he reaches a certain age. But I wish a lot of people, when they're looking at becoming cops or deputies or whatever, is that they understand that you gotta want to do this, and you gotta understand that your family, your wife, your girlfriend, know that you're gonna miss birthdays, you're gonna miss anniversaries, you're gonna miss holidays, weekends. And that we can call you at any time. You can get hurt. You might not come home that day. Yeah. You might end up in the hospital for a whole month or more, or worst case scenario, you might die. So it's one of those things that it's hard, dude. It's a hard career choice, and you have to know and say, this is what I want to do, and I got to get it 100%. But you need your family's backing. Mm-hmm. My family, my mom, my dad, even though my mom had, pobrecita, got, she was always praying. She still to this day prays for all the police officers. Every time she hears the siren, she thinks I'm on patrol. So she's like, she'll call me, ¿Qué pasó ahí las sirenas? I heard it. Mom, I'm in my office. I didn't go, my guys took care of it. It was just an accident, or, they were going to something, es que oí mucho relajo, Mom, I don't really work patrol anymore. I haven't worked patrol, since 2013, 14, but I do go out on patrol once in a while. because I'm a working chief. So I carry out, I don't know, last time you saw me, I carry my camera, my body cam. And so my mom still is, it's a calling. And like I said, people that are going to get into this, I think they should know and tell their family, look, this is the dangers. This might happen. But I promise you, I mean, I'm going to try my hardest to come home every day.
Yeah. And it's something that, we, even now for teachers, there's a shortage of teachers, there's a shortage of a lot of, professionals. And, for police officers, it's a big commitment because, like you said, you might not come home that night. It's.
But I mean, and I tell people, Jose, is like, life's not guaranteed. God can take your life at any time. I can go through a whole career and nothing happens, and all of a sudden I decide to, walk across the street and here comes a truck and runs me over. Mm-hmm. You can be at a restaurant, some drunk driver or some person crashes and that car smashes through the front of and you get pinned and you die. Only God knows where your life's going to end, dude. That's my thing. And so we can't live in fear. I mean, if you want to go back to, let's go back to the COVID. So COVID, how it changed. Yeah. COVID changes that way, man. And I know, I'm sorry, I apologize to whoever's watching. I like to get off track a lot and I love to talk, probably be here for 3 hours if Jose doesn't cut me. But COVID it was hard in that way for the people and the crimes. For us, one of the good things, and my hat's off to the Calexico Fire Chief, Diego Favila, my Lieutenant, Jesus Serrano, and myself, and actually my sergeant. I mean, the whole department, but these are the people. Sergeant Armando Marquez, man, he's been with us for 41 years. Mm-hmm. We started getting prepared. My executive assistant, Marta Gutierrez, and our finance department, dude, when we started seeing what was happening, like in December, we started buying a lot of stuff, masks, gloves, sanitizers, hand sanitizers, Lysol spray, bunch of paper, because we saw people people buying toilet paper. Man, so I have an office, and I don't know if you're in that conference room. Back in 2019, mm-hmm. a big old table. Mm-hmm. We had it from the floor to the roof in supplies, and we kept that supplies because we didn't want anybody. Not that we don't trust anybody, but just to have inventory control. We were stacking up everything there. I mean, you walk in there and everything was either PPE or disinfectant or something. And so we got ahead of the game. The rest of the county, I don't know what happened, but there was a point where everybody is saying they didn't have enough PPEs. We ended up giving PPEs to our city hall because, they didn't jump on it. We ended up giving PPEs to other agencies in the valley because we're like, hey, you know what? Our task force, we don't have PPEs available for us. And so we all got our kits together and say, hey, come by the Calexico PD and we'll give you some PPEs. You have to help a brother out, man. Yeah. I mean, they're out there working too. Mm. So we got a rural jump. I mean, we were daily, with the county. The county also did an excellent job. And because we knew that nobody was going to help us. So we had to do a lot on our own. And so, Tony Rajota is the CEO, man, and the county fire chief, Estrada. And then, he had his deputy chiefs working there too. I mean, they did an excellent job, dude. So I think as a county, we did good when it came to us, and getting things out. We had a couple of hiccups, of course. The state of California always forgets, their impoverished. So I made friends. We had a representative from FEMA come down, and he's a lieutenant for Dallas Police Department. His name is Alex Eastman. So Alex Eastman is actually a surgeon. He's a surgeon, and he's a cop. And he is hired, FEMA hired him to represent and go to all the hot spots. So prior to coming to Imperial County, he was in Navajo Nation, where they were having a huge outbreak there. He comes in here, we meet on a Saturday, and everybody meets him, and we all say our stuff. And I, told him, hey, man, you know what? The state doesn't care about us, man. I mean, we don't have this, we don't have that. We're running low on this and that. And he got together with the county, and then, man, he gave me a big boost. So he started putting pressure through FEMA, through the government, to the state level, where the state level, I got some phone calls from the state OES office telling me to ease off, to stop calling FEMA. And guess what my response was? You know me. Guess what I told?
What was
said,
it?
pound sand, but you're not going to tell me what to do. I said, I got to look out for our people down here. And so I called Alex and I said, hey, Alex, man, I said, they want me to ease off, man. He says, no. He goes, that just really pissed me off. He goes, so you know what? He started giving us stuff. Then Alex shares something with me and he says, hey, dude, you know what? There's a governor in a state where they have the biggest city in the nation. I won't say his name, Cuomo. But he says, man, this guy was hoarding everything. And we went out there and we found out that he had stuff stacked up in warehouses. I mean, they had everything, defibrillators, ventilators, I mean, everything, PPEs. And he was not, because he was anti-Trump. So Alex is like, I don't care who the president is. You know, my job is for public health. So he went over there, they took pictures. And he says, we had a meeting with him. We told him, look, you either start putting this stuff out and you stop talking about our president. He goes, because I know, I got a feeling Alex is not a Trump supporter, but he says he's our president. And he goes and he shows him the pictures and he says, we got video and pictures of all this stuff. This stuff is going to go public. So he says, man, I love your attitude because you're the same attitude I have, because we're not going to let people tell us to stop it because of political stuff. What else do you need? So shortly after his visit is when they set up those IVC. They started setting up those tents up there for the, and so, you know what? I think I had a part to do with it, but the county did most of the part. But just the fact that they knew that I had Alex's ear, they started moving faster for the county, because the county had already requested all that stuff, but they were kind of dragging their feet. Yeah. And so when they saw that Alex and I got along, and we're still friends, the guy, me and him talk all the time.
Why would the state care, you know, if FEMA was involved in helping?
Well, because FEMA is who's giving the state the money for this. See, FEMA is the utmost authority when it comes to disasters. Yeah. And since this pandemic was declared a disaster, they said, you know what, man, that's where we're getting all our money. We're getting money from the government. And if we don't play along with them, they're going to cut the money. Yeah. And now the state of California is going to get more into the hole. So it worked well for us. Yeah. But you know what? That's when I learned more about politics. And I said, man, you know, I've always known politics, but I had never reached politics in the federal level with the state. I mean, I know who to call the different agencies to get stuff done. But when that was done, I was like, nah, this is BS, dude. I mean, this, you know, I have to, everybody forgets about Imperial County. And I said, we live here, man. Yeah. And so Alex, man, my hat's off to that guy. He made some things happen for us at the beginning when we were getting hit hardest in the pandemic. Yeah, because, you know, we made national news. Yeah. I mean, even the PD had a little outbreak there. Yeah. And then, you know, El Centro came down and helped us out. So the sheriff's office ended up helping us out. And then we had a couple of officers from El Centro PD help us out too. And it was for 2 weeks, just one shift. So what we did is we moved. I got COVID during that time. And so we moved, you know, and it was so hard as a chief to actually, you know, pull the hammer when, you know, as we say, to call out for help. My lieutenant called me and says, hey, man, more people are getting sick. Because I was the first one that came down with COVID. And I got my COVID through my daughter where she worked. Where she worked at, they had a friggin' an outbreak. And she comes home and she gets myself, my wife sick and herself sick. And so I don't go to work. 3 days later, I get a phone call from my lieutenant. It says, hey, Chief, you know what? I know you're home with COVID, but we're down so many officers and dispatchers. And I said, hey, man, you know what? Let me start making phone calls. So I worked through the COVID because I didn't get the symptoms were not that bad. Thank God my doctor, he treated it like if it was pneumonia and bronchitis, and he pumped me up with all that stuff for my lungs. So I was able to work. I actually worked from home the whole time. So I said, like, you know what? Let me make phone calls. So make phone calls. We call the sheriff's office. We call, you know, CEO Tony Rojodes. And he says, yeah, you know what? We'll give you guys one team. So we made adjustments on our side to bring in and make them just a day shift. And they did a hell of a job, dude. They helped us out. Yeah, for sure. I remember seeing them around. Yeah. Again, for a while, I was like, you know, are they lost or something? That we heard that, you know, the outbreak. That's mutual aid. So we all have an understanding in the county. If we ever need help from each other, we can help each other out. Yeah, that's what I always tell people is like, you know, we love our cities, you know, Calexico, Central, but, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it's the Imperial Valley, Imperial County. You know, I've been telling these, probably people get bored with me telling this, but, you know, if you go like to Google Maps or Google Earth and you zoom out, you know, we're like this little valley in the middle of nowhere.
And
yeah.
And yeah, we gotta look out for each other, and like I said, like even though I love Calexico, but I'm from the Imperial Valley basically, because we're part of this small community that we gotta look out for each other.
And that's the thing, dude. I mean, that we always have to look at you, because God forbid another Easter quake, and this time it really hurts us in the whole valley. Let's say, for instance, the San Andreas blows up like everybody's been saying. We're gonna be the last to get help. So we're going to have to rely on each city. We're going to have to rely on Mexicali, Yuma, would probably Yuma be unless there's a big old crack on Interstate 8 that they kind of get around with. But I think Yuma will probably be our closest bigger city that can help us. Mm-hmm. But we're on our own, guys. I mean, people should get ready because if and when it happens, it's going to be uglier. And you're going to have to eat. There's going to be no running water, probably. You have to have water to drink water, food, canned food. I mean, you got to prepare. And we know it, but a lot of people don't know it, what's going to happen, what can happen.
And then I think we kind of know it, but we rather not think about it. Yeah. I feel, I mean, at least for me, like, I was in LA when the Northridge one hit, and I was like 4 or 5. And yeah, it was crazy. Like, I remember camping out outside.
Us, our Hispanic culture is always to run outside. And I tell people, you know what? If you live in a newer home, I wouldn't run outside, because most of these homes are built up to code. And here in California, they have the strictest building codes when it comes to earthquakes. Better codes than any other place. That doesn't. I mean, you can go to Texas, and I don't think the same building code is at us, because there's less earthquakes, but they have building codes for tornadoes and hurricanes, which we probably don't, because if our structure is made for an earthquake, it should sustain. I mean, at least do fair on one of those other natural disasters. So
yeah, that's what I tell people too. Like we're safe up to some point, right? Yeah. Inside of our houses, because like you said, we're up to code.
I mean, if you're living in, I think the only places that would, and even if you look at the De Anza Hotel, when we had the Easter earthquake, it's a huge building, and it didn't sustain that much damage. I mean, so back then you could probably think that when you break down a wall, the wood there is real wood. Mm-hmm. I mean, the screws or whatever they use in there, they're real stuff that is gonna last forever. Yeah. I think maybe in the 50s and 60s they kind of went cheap on building stuff, but then they went back to building codes and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the older cars, right? Like they were built to
go through crashes. I mean, you might die inside of a 1972 Cadillac or a Lincoln Continental, but your car is gonna run over everything. Yeah. It's not made, no airbags, seatbelts, nothing like that. Prior to 74, I think it was not the law. So
the
seatbelts law. Oh. Yeah, they didn't have to have the seatbelts. So you can have like a '69 Camaro, and if it didn't come with seatbelts, you don't have to put seatbelts. But if they came with seatbelts, you have to put seatbelts.
So
we got off topic again.
Yeah. When is your last day?
So my last day is December 30th. After a great career, dude, it's my last day as a paying into my retirement city employee is December 30th at 5 p.m. There is talk, though. They haven't found him a replacement yet. The city manager did say that the council is looking at maybe bringing me back as a interim chief, but now I'm going to get paid a little bit extra on the side to be your chief, or be the chief, or at least run the department until they get a new chief in there. My family was not too happy with that, especially my mom and my daughter and my wife. But I promised that I would try to scale it down a little bit, and because I'm always answering my phone, doing stuff, but that's the way I am. My wife knows that I'm built that way. That's why she says, you know what, your dad's going to retire, but in reality, he's going to continue the same until he walks away. But officially, through my retirement, California Public Employee Retirement System, my CalPERS, December 30th is my retirement date.
And the city's already started looking for.
Yes, they hired, and you know what? This is great that city manager and the council followed my advice. And I told them, I said, you know what? Get a firm to do it. And this is why I said, in the past, we've had too much controversy on who's your next chief. And so I have a lieutenant that's going to apply, and he's qualified. And I think he's going to feel really good if he gets it because he earned it. You know what I'm saying? Everything that I've done, I've earned. Nobody's giving me handouts. So I told him, you know what? I encouraged him because he says, you know, he felt a little bit kind of, you know, like, hey, you know, I said, dude, it's just go through it. It's a great experience knowing that, you know, you made it and you came out on top and you're the next chief. You know, if somebody comes in that's different, it's going to be the call of the council and the city count and the city manager. It's not my call. I mean, my call is to finish my project. So I got all these projects going. So I got patrol cars projects. I got new computers projects. I have a new radio system coming in for the officers. And I just made a decision to go with FirstNet AT&T push to talk for my traffic control. And that's going to save a lot of money because a portable handy talkie radio costs you between $3,500 to $10,000. The ones that my traffic control needs are about $5,500, $6,000. Just with the cost of one radio, that's what's going to cost me for 20 push to talks a year. So, I mean, one of the things budget, you know, you got to think budget. So I look at it, I need 20 radios. 20 times, you know, that is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And number two, the main reason is this. If our radio system were to go down, we would have those push-to-talks that we would just tell our traffic controller, sorry, guys, we need 15 of them back. You guys can stay with 5. We need 15 because patrol needs them in order to function. So for us, it's our secondary radio. And you know what? I tested them out for over 30 days. And my traffic controllers love them.
Is it like the Nextels or what?
It's just like a Nextel. The phone is like, and it's a smartphone. They can take pictures, videos. They can make phone calls at a very, like I said, it's going to cost me probably like $5,000 a year for 20 units. And so it's nothing. I mean, and you got communications. They can be any side of town. FirstNet is a service only offered to public agencies. And utility companies. I think IID is doing it too, but we have a different broadband. So in emergencies, you know, when everybody starts calling 911 or everybody starts using the phone to check on, hey, we had a big earthquake, and you can't communicate. FirstNet, it's got priority, so bumps everybody off.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have communications now. They have trailers, mobile trailers that they can bring in. I know AT&T's putting up a lot of cell towers. And there's a lot of antennas that relay in between, like repeaters. So I said, you know what, we're gonna go. We'll have maximum coverage in here. The funny thing is, one of my guys that we send them up to Brawley to pick something up for the traffic controllers, and they were able to call, and they come back and it says, "Wow, our current radios, because they're not part of the regional one." He goes, "Our current radios, once you hit Walmart, you were done."
Really?
He goes, "This one, I was at Brawley," and they called me and I answered back, and I was like, "Wow!" I said, "You know, you're gonna get it for us, Chief?" I said, "Yeah, we're gonna get it for you guys." Found money in my budget. You know, that's one of the things. You know, you learn to master stuff like this. Found money in my budget. Went with my finance director. She agreed on it. And my city manager also said, "You know what? Yeah, let's do it." And you know, one of the things as a chief you got to do is have a good working relationship with your people at City Hall. Because if I was a jerk, they could tell me no.
Yeah.
And not give me a reason why. And so, I mean, the city's moving forward, dude. That's what I say. I mean, in my 30 years, I wish I could have done more with the department. We had more money to hire more police officers. One of our priorities is, I mean, other than get equipment and training, because you have to have good training, is I'm trying to get a school resource officer back in the schools. Right now, we have officers that respond to schools, but I would love to see, you know, at least 2 officers. My dream was, before all this pandemic and all this stuff happening, was to have 4 SROs, 1 assigned just to the high school, 1 for each junior high. And then I was going to give them collateral duties for the junior high ones to actually step down. It was going to be 1 at the high school, 1 at the 9th grade academy. and then the 2 junior highs. So between the 9th grade academy and the 2 junior highs, I was going to have them start going to the elementary schools once a week and start up with like a 3rd grade class and see them all the way till they go to the next level, and educate the children there to be better citizens.
And yeah, and I think one of the things we talked the last time was, you wanted to make sure that the PD was more involved in the community, and then again, COVID happened, and
but you know what, we still stayed involved. So COVID last year was our 17th annual Kids and Badges. Shop with a Cop didn't go through, but guess what? We made it work. We figured out, okay, so if we can't take these children shopping, we came up with a plan. I mean, and hats off to my staff again. This one, the person that chairs my Kids and Badges, who runs with it every year, for the last probably 10 years, has been Sergeant Victor Legaspi. And so he goes out there and he, they go out there with Hortensia Armendariz, with a Family Resource Center, and my staff, and they gather all this money, and then we have a lot of donors come in. So what we did last year was we actually got them presents, but we included a $100 gift card for Walmart.
Oh, okay.
So they had to drive up. Santa Claus was handing them out. We did really cool. And we said, you know what? We're not going to last year's thing was COVID's not going to beat us or something like that. COVID's not going to beat us. We're still going to do it. This year, we actually did it.
Yeah.
And it went very well. I mean, we partnered up with MTC last year. The Metropolitan Training Services, I think, or they're the ones that do the jail for the ICE detainees and stuff like that. So last year they partnered up with us. This year they actually donated 36 bicycles for 36 kids. Oh, wow. We raised enough money where we were able to give them $150.
Wow.
Any money left over, we had Hortensia Armendariz buy gift certificates for Food for Less and Cardenas, and she's going to take some to the families that need it so they can have food for Christmas. That's awesome. So I mean, we spread it big time. Not only did we get the gifts, the kids got $150 plus the bike, and then the Fire Department Association, they donated the helmets. Police Officer Association donated a lot of money. I mean, we had Dr. Vo. I mean, I'm saying, I apologize if I don't name you guys, but there was a lot of people. Which the first official meeting of the city council, we're gonna give recognition to these people and give them a nice little either plaque or something, because I mean, it was a great event. And so we said, you know what, 18th year. So I told Sergeant Legaspi and them, I said, look, after I retire, you guys got to keep this going. I said, it's tradition now. And if COVID didn't let us, stop it, nothing should stop it.
Yeah.
The community, and I saw something on Facebook because the Collection Chronicle put something, and then this guy put some stupid comment. Oh, I hope it's not coming out of the city. I hope it came out of the county budget. And so I went in there, usually, which I don't, and it really pissed me off. I said, you know what, look, dude, Calexico has good citizens, has great community that we don't need money from other people. We were able to raise money through our own community, our own business people, our own people here. They reached down and they gave us money. We don't need no handouts from the county for Kids and Badges. Here in Calexico, see, people don't understand Calexico. Us Calexicans is like, man, we'll help each other out. And that's something that I'm very proud of. I was born and raised in Calexico. I went through Calexico. I am Calexico. I'm this beer that I'm babying here because I just like the taste of it and I want to enjoy it. It's what is it called? Bulldog, right? I'm a bulldog, man. Once a bulldog, always a bulldog. John Moreno, my friend, makes fun of me because we say who's the bigger bulldog, me or him? Yeah. Well, I'm the chief, so I tell him I'm the bigger bulldog. After I retire, I guess John will go back to be the. But you know what, dude? I said the 30th is my last day. Bittersweet. I'm happy that I got to the end of my career. Sad because I'm leaving. But I'll still be around. I still plan on helping with stuff that I can help with.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to talk about it, but the reason you gave as to why you thought it was time to hang up the badge. Do you want to?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Look, with the COVID and everything that happened, my front door neighbor, and I know he's being, smashed, thrown out there because there was a young deputy that, died in that accident. And I don't know whose fault it was, whether his fault or not. I mean, I haven't seen an official report, but I mean, he died. People got hurt. He was a young man, front door neighbor. I would see him all the time. He had just gone FTO, and he's telling me, hey, you already did 30 years. And it kind of hit me. I said, you know what, man? I said, poor kid had this whole thing going, and his career ended not even a year into it. My family, I need to spend more time with my mom because I don't really spend time as much as I used to because I'm always working.
Yeah.
My wife, my kids. I have 2 younger kids. Not younger, but still, I got 1 kid in high school, and then my daughter's 21. I need to spend time with them. I have 2 older kids. I want to reconnect with my grandkid. I mean, I don't get to see him that much. He's 12. Shout out Heriberto. Shout out to my family. My wife. My wife, and I don't want to give my wife's name out because, hey, everybody knows. But she's a CHP dispatcher. She works really hard. And so I said, it's time for me. I think it's time for me to try and enjoy. Like I said, life's too short. I don't know when God's going to pull my plug and say that's it. But I would really like to spend more time with my family. And that's what it is. I think it's time. I was being selfish for over 30 years. I think it's time for me to give back to the people that have supported me through all my ups and downs. My family that has been through me through a lot, and just concentrate on them. There's a lot of stuff I want to do in my house. I mean, it's time for me, and I do it. But I want to really concentrate and do stuff. I mean, I like doing. I mow my own lawn. I wash my own cars. I fix my own stuff. I don't call hand. Ya que no puedo, then I say, okay, I made a bigger mess out of it. Now I can call the plumber to come and try to fix this. Or I can call the electrician. I'll try a little bit of it. My dad always taught me to try to fix things first. And so that's my thing. I'm trying to, my son says he wants to go into the military after he graduates. So I figured he's got a year and a half left of school. Spend some time with him. I might do some stuff part-time, but I don't see myself doing a full-time job. Part-time, I'm a cradle robber. My wife's 5 years younger than me, so she still can't retire. And she wants to do her full-time working at CHP, so she's got at least 4 more years to go. So I figured, you know what? Spend time, that way on her days off, because she works 14 days out of the month. They work a 12-hour shift. So now that she's off, I can be home, and I'll have the house, I'll clean, make tortillas for her and cooking and right. But dude, it's having, I enjoy it. I mean, we see a lot of people that don't get to enjoy their lives after retirement. And like I said, whatever God has planned for me, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. If he leads me back into doing something, getting more involved with the community, then I'll do it. If not, then I think it's time for me to step back and take a break. Yeah. And no, I'm not going to run for sheriff. People were saying that I was going to run for sheriff, and that's a different monster that I would not put my family through that. It's a lot of commitment, and if I can't commit 100%, I don't think I would do that in any job. I mean, I'm going to give you 100% all the time. Yeah.
And I think that's when people, because lately people have been asking me to be part of different things, and to me, I'm like you, I mow my own lawn. It's not the best lawn, but it's my lawn, and I do it. I'm not a handyman, but I like to cook. Before I came, I left my kids food in there so you can eat. And to me, like my family's my commitment, my number one. So if I can't really give you 100%, I'm not gonna do it. So this is a hobby, and it's given me a lot of opportunity to reach out to my community and talk about what's going on. And I love it. And it's hard to, even people have asked me to run for city council. I'm like, I don't think I can do it 100%. I don't think I could, just because of my son. He's 13, so I feel like
he needs you. This is the age that you're it, man. This is the age where you can mold your kid, and if you let it go, you're gonna lose him then. And then trying to reel him back, it's hard, man. And I stay on my kid all the time, man. And I know he might probably done stuff, done dumb stuff, that juveniles do. But if I find out, that's different.
Yeah, and a big part of I think growing up here in Calexico is we know when when our kids do something wrong, we know right away because
Oh yeah, I mean you don't have to be in Calexico. I mean, just in a small community. Period. I mean, word gets out. You did this, and that. Especially in our position. Oh, you got teacher. You got this. And works for the school district. Oh yeah. And me, it's like, hey, your son did this, or you're the police chief. What do you do about it? Or your daughter, said this. Or you're the chief of police. What do you do about it? Well, I mean, I'm not a chief at home. I'm a dad at home. You know, I'm a father. I'm a husband. You know, I'm a grandfather. I'm a yerno. You know, that's where I'm at home. You know, I'm a son here. You know, but I'm a police officer when I'm here. And yeah, my the way I behave should be as a police officer all the time. I'm not gonna go out there and do drugs and shoot my gun up in the air and run stop signs and do stupid stuff like that because it's wrong. But at the same time, dude, I mean, I get to enjoy beer once in a while, you know, or bottle of whiskey or not bottle, glass of whiskey, bottle. Oops, let that slip. I already slip. No, but you know what? It's just about having fun, trying to go to life, you know, get along with people, and I tell the young kids, you know, when I talk to them, I say, look, just get along with each other. Don't stress. I think social media is good, but I think it's bad. Mm-hmm. I mean, look at this TikTok thing that happened on Thursday. Yeah. The national school shootout on Friday, December 17th. Then we get a kid over here that thinks it's a prank, he's going to do it. You have somebody in Brawley do it in our local community. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know, it's BS. I mean, it's and that's where I get upset with this. That's where I hate social media because they have all these filters that you just put it. Anything that we put together in some sense, school shoot, school kill, school this, it should not be able to be posted. Yeah. You know, but then again, TikTok's owned by the Chinese, so and then the coronavirus. I just had to throw that. Yeah. I know I'm going to upset some people. I think it's all fun, dude. I think when people get upset over politics, it's so immature. Yeah. I honestly think it's so immature. I think, you know, you should just listen to everybody, you know, because both sides are wrong or three sides are wrong. Not everybody's right.
Do you think that now it's a little bit more amplified than, you know, it's ever been? Or?
Let me tell you this. I mean, political correctness, I hate that. I wish you could just go and say it the way it is and respect each other's stuff. I mean, funniest movies I've ever seen, funniest comedians I've ever gone to see, they're not politically correct. George Lopez was not politically correct. I mean, you look at, you know, all these other comedians, they're not politically correct. I mean, they say it the way you go see them for laughter, for entertainment, to get you, you know, sports. Sports should never be about racism and stuff like that. And yes, everything has its platform, but I think I used to go to football games to forget about the ugly of the world. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be reminded in a football game. You know what I'm saying? It's yes, there's racism. Yes, there's this, there's that. But you know what? There's a platform where to do it. Baseball games. That's why I still like baseball. I go LA Dodgers, man. I like it because it still hasn't gone political. It's, you know what, man? I'm not going to preach to you my Christian beliefs. I'm not going to preach to you my political beliefs. Why should you do it? Mm-hmm. I came here to watch you. If I'm going to go to a concert, I came to watch that person play and give me the best show. If I'm going to go watch a comedian, dude, I don't care if you use, you know, Beaner. Or, you know, I don't care if he's, you know what, dude, I'm not going to take offense to that or a greaser because I came to see you because that's what you do. Mm-hmm. I mean, Dave Chappelle's special, I tell people, it wasn't that bad. And I like what he said. Hey, look, we're getting away from all the fun stuff. We used to be able to make fun of each other. And that's what it was. Us, culture, Mexican culture, you tell me who doesn't give each other carrilla.
Yeah, my wife gave me carrilla today's interview because I kept talking about it too much.
Yeah. She said, "What? You in love with him or what?" You know. Yeah, I mean, but my whole thing is I wish people would just go back to saying, you know what, dude, accept criticism, give carrilla so you can get carrilla. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of fun. Laughter makes you feel good, dude. Why do you think cops laugh at the scene of a crime or a horrific accident? 2 things or 3 things: an officer faints, throws up unseen, and doesn't take care of the situation. Or he starts crying and can't handle the situation, or he laughs. Laughter is not laughing at what happened. Laughter is a coping mechanism for us to cope with what we're seeing, and it's an ugly that we. I mean, I've seen fatalities where we'll be taking measurements and we're laughing not at what happened. We're laughing because the officer forgot to reset his roll of tape when he's measuring, or he, you know, he didn't write the right stuff down, or he stepped on some dog poop that was there. That's what we'll be laughing at. Mm-hmm. Or the guy tripped on something. That's what we like. That's a coping mechanism for us. And I tell people, if you see, because I had phone calls, se estaban riendo. Ma'am, they're not laughing at you. They're not laughing at that. It's a coping mechanism. All right. These guys just saw somebody die in front of them, or they did CPR and they just heard that the guy over the radio that the guy didn't make it, or the lady didn't make it, or the kid that they saved ended up dying. You know, so it's you know, that's a coping mechanism. Laughter, going to comedy shows, it's a coping mechanism.
And I think you know, for me, it's because I've experienced where, like, you know, I try to be part of groups and when people kind of like disown you because you don't go 100% with what they believe. And, you know, I feel that we all have our opinions. You know, if I like you and I don't like something that you believe in, you know, I'm not going to stop talking to you. You know, I just won't touch that subject with you. And, you know, I won't criticize you about it, you know, because, you know, at the end of the day, I know you're a good person, but you have everybody has one little detail that
we can't agree on everything all the time. Imagine that. We would be boring. If we all thought the same, it would be the most boring civilization ever. And I've had friends on Facebook unfriend me. Friends that I went to school since junior high school. I've known them for 50 years, you know, unfriend me because of what I thought or what I said. Because I didn't agree with a political thing. And I said, dude, come on, bro. I think they're reaching. You know what? Who cares? You know, I tell my friends, you know, these friends was like, oh, I was blasting Trump. And one day I told, look, dude, the guy's gone. Who gives a crap about him? I don't want to hear it no more, dude. He's gone, man. Yeah, we got Biden. Biden's the new president. Let's just go with that. I don't put politics in anything. I don't talk politics to people because that's my belief on who I believe. You know, I'll talk to you about God. And even that, people get offended, you know, say, hey, you know what, Christ, you know, you got to be a Christian, you know. Oh, yeah, mira, okay, I'm not perfect. We're all sinners, man. We are sinners. We are all sinners, you know, but you try to be a better person, you know, from God. I don't care about politics. You know, why do you fight for Trump? Why do you fight for Biden? Why do you fight for Hillary? They don't even know who you are. They don't care about you. They care about getting to that position because they're all power hungry and they want power. I said, when I became police chief, dude, I have a lot of power. Never abused it. Never abused it because that's the way I am. To me, it's like I work for the people. The people don't work for me. I work for the community.
Do you think it's hard to find people that are that way where, like, they're not easily... because to me, like, that's another reason why I'm kind of afraid of running for city council. Not because I feel like... you know, somebody that wants the power or is power hungry or might be persuaded, but you just never know, you know, the situations you might be put in, or like you kind of have to use or abuse that power.
So my advice to you and whoever's if thinking of running for council is this. Number one, you're elected by the people. Number two, you're not a partisan thing. So nobody gives a crap if you're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, Green, whatever, Independent or whatever it is. You're there to serve the community for the community. Your political stance on who's president, should never come into play with your city council or even your county board of supervisors. Because you weren't the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, whatever party that didn't endorse you, you're not running that. Your number one should be the city of Calexico or whoever you're serving. Number three is the power. You might have power, but remember though, don't let people influence you. If at the beginning you set the tone and you say, Jose is a straight guy, dude, you're not going to be able to go and pay him off and bribe him, they're not going to come to you. Simple as that. When they want you to say, hey, Jose, call the police chief, you're the city council member, hey, they gave me a ticket, tell them to do away with it. And you say, dude, I'm not going to do that. That's wrong. When people try to influence you to do something for the benefit of one employee instead of all the employees or the citizens of Calexico, it's not worth it. Do it. You set the tone. I set the tone at the beginning of my career, and then at the beginning when I became lieutenant and chief, I said, look, dude, I'm going to try very hard not to be influenced by anybody. Sometimes you have to bend the rules, not break the law, but bend the rules even with your own staff. Who are you going to go out there and give a written reprimand to? How are you going to discipline them? You know, it's a case by case. But if everybody knows this is the way he thinks, this is the way he does, it's very easy. And that's my advice to you, man. If you're going to do it, you don't go out there. Political, religious views. Remember, dude, religious and political views, don't mix. And in a city council where it's not a partisan one, even better, dude. You can say, hey, look, we're going with what's best for the city at this point. What's best for the community, what's best for the city. If you ever run to council, you're going to see how bad the city in the past financial situation has been. We're getting there, dude. We're getting back to, but it takes a lot of no's. It takes a lot of risks. It takes a lot of, hey, we can't afford to hire more people at this time. Everybody wants more people. I want more cops and dispatchers and records people and more staff. Fire department wants more firefighters and more, inspectors. Everybody wants more. But as a city, you have to do priorities. And your priorities usually is public safety. And after that, if there's a little bit left over, then you give it to everybody else. But you know what? One of the things that I see is the new generation, and I'm talking about people that are 10, 15 years younger than me. Unless you were brought up working hard all the time, they're only giving you 70%, dude. I want to hire people that are 80%ers minimum, because an 80%er, which is what I call them, they give you 80%. If they have a bad day, they drop down to 60, 50, but the next day when they come back and it's a good day, they're back at 80. I hire a 60%er. He drops down to 40%, 30%. He's never going to go back there. He's going to stay around 50%. And those are the ones that give you the most problems. And I tell my lieutenant, I said, look, dude, guy looks great on paper, but his background, dude, we make phone calls. And they say, nah, you know what? This guy's, hit and miss. I don't want a hit and miss guy. Yeah. I want a guy that says, man, this guy's 100% all the time. Because if he has a bad day, it's only going to be a bad day for maybe hours or maybe one shift. And then after that, the guy's going to bounce back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's a good way to see it. Because, if you hire a 50%er, then you're going to have to hire another 50% to make an 100. So.
Yeah, that's, I mean, like I said, I want what's best for the community and for my department because it makes it easier for everybody. If I could teach everybody or give everybody my experience, man, I wish I could do that. It would make my job so much easier. But it's my responsibility and our responsibility to bring up the guys by teaching them. But man, I tell people, somebody says, well, knowledge is power. Yeah, but if you don't spread your knowledge, who cares about the power? I mean, to me, it's like, give them everything you know. Because you're still the master. I'm still the Jedi. I tell them, I'm still the Jedi master. You're just a Jedi. And I'm going to give you all my stuff. Now you have to do your own stuff to become a Jedi master. But you know everything I know. I just know how to do it better. Like don't teach your training, teach them everything you know. Makes your job easier.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else? We got off topic again, huh?
No. I mean, it's good. I like when it's, especially when it's like banter, like when that's like the best conversation,
Well, my whole thing is I like to mentor people, man. That's my whole thing. Try to mentor people to be better. Try to get people, you know what, dude? You think you're having a bad day? Go to Afghanistan. Look how the people live over there. You think you're having a bad day? Go to North Korea. Come back. You have a bad day? Go to China. I mean, you think you have a bad day, dude? Go to prison. Or be in the hospital with COVID. Be intubated. I said,
be a nurse.
Yeah. I mean, you go, the nurses, man, they're getting their butts kicked with this, dude. I mean, they're doctors and nurses, man. There's hospital staff. I mean, they're on the battleground right now, dude. They're fighting this war. And you know what? I praise them. I know doctors, I know nurses, I know people. My daughter's a phlebotomist, and she said ever since COVID started, man, it's like, she's out there exposed to COVID and stuff like that. But she's like, man, we're busier than ever. I said, well, yeah. I mean, you need blood draws all the time. Yeah. So I think everybody got busy. Unfortunately, then a lot of people got used to being lazy too. Yeah. Nobody wants to work. Yeah. I mean, we can't find people to work sometimes. My traffic controllers, I used to have people wanting to work, 20, 30 people wait list. Now we're scrounging around and get people to come and work. I'm going like, what's wrong with these people? Nobody wants to work. And I'm over here retiring thinking, what part-time jobs are... People have already offered me jobs. Yeah. I turned down the full-time jobs. I turned down some stuff, but I said, hey, I like that. It's part-time. I think I can do that. It's work once a day every other week. Why not? Yeah. Go do the side gig over here. Well, I don't want to work more than 24 hours in a week. And they're like, okay, can I pick my hours? Yeah, okay, I'll try that too. just to get me out of the house to do something. Have extra money to do my little projects around the house. You know, and so people don't understand that. I mean, I've been working since I was 12 years old, dude. I worked at there where La Fe used to be, Panaderia La Fe on 5th and Dual. There was a market called Sonny's Market, and it was owned by the Sonny Lopez. Well, him and my dad were friends, and my dad had him hire me. My dad was paying my salary.
Oh, wow.
So my dad would give him $5, you know, a week, and then I would go over there and I would dust the shelves and put prices on the cans. It was a little abarrotes, dude. So I did that since I was 12 years old, dude. And I was like, wow, I'm getting paid, you know. Then when I was 14, I used to clean the kennels at for Customs and Border Patrol. They used to have dog kennels there. They used to keep them there.
Oh, okay.
So I was 14, 15. I got a side gig doing it, and they would pay me once a month, and I would go once a week to go spray them down, get all the black widows and everything like that. And then they got upset with me after 2 years because the dogs got to know me. And so I was supposed to help the dogs. I didn't know any better. You know, I'm 15 years old playing with the dogs. And so they say, you know, we don't need your services no more. Then they ended up moving them up to another location. But I used to go out there and clean that stuff. And then I got a job at McDonald's when I was in high school. I worked for Tony Gonzalez. Man, working at McDonald's is probably one of the best jobs I had because it taught me a lot of leadership stuff and how to work hard and how to put up with a difficult boss. Great boss, but difficult.
Yeah.
And Tony Gonzalez, man, you know, what my dad didn't show me, Tony Gonzalez working for him, eye-opener. I worked at Video Store while I was going to IVC, Video 2000.
You did?
I worked at JCPenney's with Ernie Acuna, rest in peace. He hired a bunch of us, friends of us. We worked there. So I had a bunch of jobs, man, a lot of jobs at the same time.
Really? You worked at Video 2000?
Yeah, dude, really? I worked at Video 2000 for the longest time.
Yeah, because I mean, we used to go walk and rent movies all the time. I don't remember seeing you.
No, online video. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Online video. Across from
the second street.
Off of Apple Market. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was online video.
Yeah, I remember going to online video.
Yeah, so I worked on online video.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, myself, my friend Gilbert Reese, Ricky Castro, John Quinones, you know, Carmelita Santos. I mean, these are all people that we're all college age, just going to IVC. We got a gig there. We used to work there, and we used to rent movies for free and stuff like that. You know, we used to pre-screen all the movies coming out before they came out. It was a fun job, fun gig, bro. I mean, you just go out there and you know, for just to do it.
What was your favorite movie? Oh, what's your favorite movie now?
Dude, I really like the Godfather series, dude.
Yeah, that's a great series.
And then like the Batmans, all the Batmans. I liked all the Batmans.
Really,
dude.
even Batman and Robin?
Yeah, it was kind of, but yeah, I mean, I like the original Batmans. You know, you got I think Michael Keaton was one of the best Batmans, man. And the Joker, man,
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson, you can't beat that guy.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's good movies. I mean, but I love the Godfather series, dude. And believe it or not, American Me and Blood In, Blood Out, dude. Like those movies, dude. I like those movies. I like comedies, a lot of comedy movies. I mean, then the Goonies. One of my favorites is the Goonies. You know, one of the movies that I was talking to my lieutenant. One of the movies that scared the crap out of me, and I couldn't sleep for like 3 days was The Exorcist. I saw when I was a kid, dude, and I slept in the sofa, dude. I was so afraid. I said I'd never see a scary movie like that. And now I look back and I'm going like, dang, it's still a scary movie for you. Look at it, dude. I mean, it's just
for that, you know, for when it was made, and then you know, if you're watching now, it still holds up to.
Yeah, it still holds up to the new stuff. I mean, and so I like watching like that, and me and my wife like watching all the cop shows. Like, you know, we love Blue Bloods, dude. That's probably one of my favorite shows right now. We like watching the Chicago PD, and they're pretty good. I mean, they got pretty good shows, you know, and the cop shows. But the NCIS stuff, I get bored after a while. I was like, it's the same thing, different characters.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's like too fantasy to me. Like it's
you know, and unfortunately with those shows, people see the technology that's out there, but they don't understand that it's not available to every department. Yeah. I mean, I even think some of that stuff they pull out, I don't even think that LAPD or NYPD has it. You know, this is something that maybe the FBI is toying with because this is all fantasy stuff, you know, but there's a lot of technology out there. Policing has come a long way. You know, the DNA stuff. We can get rapid response on fingerprints before we couldn't. I mean, it's incredible, dude. The stuff we can collect as evidence before. I mean, so in my 30 years, I've seen law enforcement grow up a lot when it comes to technology. Oh yeah, dude.
Even cell phones are.
Oh, cell phones, dude. I mean, geez. And people, word of advice, kiddie porn's against the law. If it's on your phone or computer, it never gets erased. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy because
people think, oh, yeah, I'll delete it. And it's, oh, hell no. I can still get in there and I can get you the date and time and who logged in to watch that stuff. You think you can send, burner phones, we'll find you. It's just we have to do a little bit more extra work, get more people involved, when it comes to the feds. But we'll find you. People, it's like, wow, the only way we won't find you is if you don't have that phone on you and that phone's is obliterated somewhere where it can be seen.
But trace or anything like that.
All we need is just that little chip, man, from the and people don't understand that.
Yeah.
We find it. People can be found. It's either it's a matter of time.
And it's crazy like when people started saying that they were putting chips on the vaccine. I'm like, man, you carry your phone all the time, man.
Dude, this thing, and I would see people put stuff on their. Oh, look, I was like
magnetic.
Really? Dude, even if they put a chip, dude, that chip would not have that much strength as a magnet to hold through all your fat and muscle. To hold, especially because they put it in your muscle, so it would have to go through your muscle and your fat and stuff like that. It was funny because I saw one and my kids showed me some fat dude doing it. I said, it's just the fat that it's holding on to. I said, oil. Yeah, the oil. Yeah. It's all that hot fat in his phone. It got nothing to do with the chip. So,
yeah.
I know that there's Switzerland people are putting those chips because they want to have all the medical record. Now that's different. I mean, you're being chipped just like a friggin' dog, or an animal. But other than that, I mean, as like, people get vaccinated, people don't. It's up to me. It's up to the people. I'm vaccinated. But if you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your right. Wearing the mask, it's another thing. If you don't want to wear one, it's up to you. I'm vaccinated, so according to what CDC says, I should be protected. But it's just like the regular flu. You're still going to get the flu.
Yeah.
I might still get COVID. It's how bad you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Whether it be a 3, 4, 5 day COVID down or a intubation COVID because you didn't get vaxxed. Same thing with a flu shot. You get the flu shot, doesn't say you're not going to get the flu. It just says that when you get it, it's not going to knock you down for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that.
Yeah, because I had the flu. I think when COVID started was the first time I got the flu, because the flu shot. Because prior to that, I would get the flu and it would, put me down like a couple of days. But I was like, you know what? I'd rather get the flu shot, make sure that it's not, COVID. If I get the flu, protect me, not confuse it with COVID as like. And then it's crazy because I was debating getting the flu shot, and then like a couple of weeks later, I was a study for the AstraZeneca.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, people were telling me like, man, you were afraid of getting the flu shot. Now you're, getting picked for AstraZeneca. I'm like, well.
And you know what? I told people is like, I get the flu shot every year. Me and my wife, the kids, we force them to take the flu shot because we know that the flu shot's proven. And I can tell them it just doesn't keep you from getting it. It just keeps you from, going full up flu, where people actually die from the flu. And so, I mean, we used to bring them to the PD, the nurses, to our HR, and we would have 2 days where you say, if you want to get a flu shot, go to the PD. They're going to be from here to here, from this time to this time. And so people go out there, get their flu shot, and get it out of the way.
Yeah.
I mean, the pandemic's going to become an endemic, and they're going to develop a vaccine every year where we have to take it. If you want to, and that's my whole thing. It should be the choice whether you do it or not. And that's the whole thing. Pues si te enfermas, pues allá tú. You don't want to get it.
Yeah.
I think we've reached a point now where people are tired, and that's why you have all this resistance of people doing it. It should be your right. It should be your right as a parent whether you're going to vaccinate your kid or not. I mean, no, that's my belief. I mean, as a person, and I know I'm going to get criticized because they say, "Oh, you're the chief. You're supposed to." No, but my whole thing is, it's up to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't force people not to do it. It's like forcing people to drink beer, do drugs. Hey, you know what? You got to do this. You don't do that. Forcing people to get abortions. If they want to get an abortion, it's up to them. It's against my belief. But I'm not going to go out there and stand in front of them and say, hey, man, you know what? I can tell you that I don't think you should get it, but that's it. I mean, I'm not going to say you can't come into my restaurant. you can't, come buy groceries because of that. I mean, that's a decision that you are making as an adult. So,
switching topics. So what advice would you give, our new captain?
Our new chief?
Your chief, sorry.
Well, I mean, I think the ideal candidate, what the city put down on their website, is pretty neat. Not in the city, but it's on the thing. But first of all, you got to be humble. Humility is the number one thing. Number two, remember that you work for the community. Number three, treat your employees like family. You're the dad. You can't have a favorite. You got to treat them all the same. And then not everybody gets grounded. If you have a problem with somebody, that's who you discipline. If somebody does good, that's who you give the accolades to. And don't be stingy. One of the things you can ask my people is, once a month or sometimes twice a month, we have sandwiches, we have pizza, we make hot dogs. And I don't mind pitching in $100, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, whatever it is. They go around, but most of the time it's like you treat your employees to something. I mean, your employees work better for you when they feel appreciated.
Yeah.
And my thing is don't let politics play into it. If you believe that something is not right, don't be afraid to tell your city manager. Of course, don't confront him out in the open and yell at him and stuff like that, but go meet with him. Mm-hmm. Your council members, you don't work for your council. You work for the city manager. And your city manager, if you tell them from the beginning, hey, look, you're my buffer. I work for you. I don't work for them. And the city manager makes them understand that, then, you know what? Yeah, they can fire you, but it's going to take 3 council members to fire you. Yeah. Don't be afraid. I've gone up, and you've seen this, if I don't see some of the meetings, that I have actually spoken up to the city councilman. I've always been that way. I'll say when I have to. As a matter of fact, my city manager has asked me sometimes, like, hey, dude, if you're going to go say something, can you just give me a heads up? That way I don't get, hit blindsided. He won't tell me not to say anything. He just says, hey, you know what? Just give me no. That way, when you go up there, I already know what you're going to say. I'm very blunt. So the new guy coming in, if you don't have that, if you're not blunt like me, it's fine. Mm-hmm. But you got to know when you're standing your ground. Don't give in to political pressure. If you know something's not right, I mean, like this, when they put up the farm workers tent city up there, and I had a city council member telling me, tear it down right now. I said, dude, no, I can't do that. I got to find these people, because the law says you got to find them somewhere, some help. So I partner up with Spread the Love Charity and other NGOs, non-government organizations, to help me, and mental health and stuff like that. And we went out there the week before, we went out the day before, and then the day of us removing them, we worked with them. I got a lot of stuff. 2 council members were truly upset, or you know what? I could have arrested those 2 city council members, but look, why give people more of a show? Mm-hmm. I call my city manager and say, look, dude, they're going to call you right now. And if you don't tell them that they got to move, I'm going to arrest them. I said, I don't want to do it, but I'm going to do it. I said, so he told them, they moved, they were upset. Everybody was talking crap about me, stuff like that. But they don't understand. Look, I was using city ordinance, state law to get them out of there. So you got to be smart about that. You got to know when to do certain things, when to wait. Give them their chance to protest. It's okay. I mean, I didn't mind them going out there. But then when it became a danger to themselves, when they started putting up all these plants and barriers, I went, wait a minute, look, this is actually a street. And it was a street that was granted to the government by the city of Calexico in the 40s. You can't do this. Mm-hmm. It's when they were trying to bring the restrooms, that I put a stop to it before they do it, the portable restroom. I said, look, if the city's going to let you put them, and the city's liable now, they need to be ADA compliant. You can't have a regular old, if they're painted, refurbished, but a wheelchair access needs room. Mm-hmm. Where are you going to put them to? You can't put them. They were trying to put them. That said, some drunk guy walks in, drives up in or out of that parking lot, and hits somebody. We're liable. Yeah. So yeah, they were very upset. I mean, their group got very upset with me and said, hey, no, I'm not anti-campesino. My dad worked in the fields. We got to do things right. I am looking out for the liability of the city. We're going to get sued. That's the type of chief needs to come in, is look at the whole thing, and it's like, don't let people influence you and looking the other way when you can, because at the end of the day, who are they going to blame? Well, the chief knew he didn't do anything about it. They're not, as a council member, for the next guy coming in, they're not going to say, yeah, we told you to do it. It's like, hey, well, he's the chief. He should have known better. And so you need to be a strong chief. Yeah. And you need to be a mentor. It's a small department, and you got to know what you're getting yourself into. It's a city that has had budgetary issues, has had money issues. We're not out of the woods. So you're not going to come in here and they're going to give you 10 officers right away. They're not going to give you, another 6 dispatchers right away. If you can pull it off, my hat's off to you, bro. Mm-hmm. Or miss or sir or whatever. I mean, it could be a man or a woman. Mm-hmm. But, just got to know that this is what you're coming into, and make it better. Don't go back in reverse. Make it better. Just make it better. Outshine me. Outdo me, please. I challenge you to do it and continue doing it. Not just do it one day and that's it. It's continue it, set the state, because you know what? I want what's best for Calexico. Okay.
And last time we talked, you said that you wanted to leave the department better than when it was when you got here. Do you feel that you accomplished it?
So the only thing I think I did not accomplish is getting more personnel. Morale might be a little bit low because we have people out on injury and stuff like that. So I got people out, but everything is left where equipment-wise, training-wise, they're going to get more than when I first came in. I mean, everybody's going to have a tablet pretty soon. So when they go do the reporting, those tablets will mount on the new patrol cars in a mount. Everybody's going to get assigned new one. We got new radios. We got new radio consoles for dispatch. We're trying to get new guns. All this stuff I'm leaving all this stuff in the works. That's why I wouldn't mind staying a couple of months to finish that, and hopefully I can see the fruits of my labor coming in. Mm-hmm. But if not, I know that all that stuff has already been set. Yeah.
And I think that like those people might not see it as a big thing, but I mean it's the infrastructure that, because you can have 100 cops, but if you don't have a good radio system, a good communication, it's not gonna
I mean, you can have 100 cops and only 10 radios, and you're only going to reach out to those 10 cops. So my whole thing is trying to get them to have the equipment that they need. And you know what? One of the things that I noticed, and these guys are, and most of the officers there, you always have people that don't agree with you 100%, but it's a really family-oriented atmosphere, and I hope that it stays that way. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, we have our cookouts. We bring in food, and stuff like that. We like Sergeant Legaspi says, partying of the bread. We sit down, we all have lunch together, and just moment to forget. We put music on, let the people, just relax. And I hope they continue that or make it better. That's my whole thing. Make it better. I mean, redo it to make it better, or if it's not working, get rid of it. Yeah. I mean, but the mentality of that chief is got to be to move forward. If I did anything wrong, fix it. Don't sit there and blame me and just fester on that. Well, Chalo did this wrong, and Chalo did this wrong. Okay, fix it then.
Yeah, prove me wrong.
No, and it's fine, dude. If I did it wrong, fine, fix it. But don't just sit there and say, oh, yeah, he did this wrong, and that's why I can't do anything. Mm-hmm. Don't come in there and blaming the past chief for everything that, I could have done that. I could have gone down everything the past chief said, well, this chief did this. That's why I can't do anything. Mm-hmm. No, it's do it. Fix it. Yeah. Your employees, your citizens are going to see it. You don't need to brag about it. Yeah. I mean, I can sit here and give you all my brag list, but I'm not like that, dude. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and brag. So these guys can brag all they want. Fine. But at the end of the day, people are going to see right through you and see, you know what, you're just a talker and you don't deliver. And so deliver what you do. The citizens, you got to treat the citizens right. Mm. And work together with every other department. Don't break the relationships that I have established with the fire planning, our public works department, stuff like that. Because when you make those relationships, it's really easy. I can make a phone call and I can have, the public works people come and help me right away. I can fire department help me right away. And if they don't like each other, then they'll say, oh yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it makes it better. It's kind of like a clock, it's part of the wheels.
We're a team, bro. Yeah. The city of Calexico and its employees are a huge team. Mm-hmm. And every team has a vital role, and like you said, it's like a clock. We all have the wheels. And if one of them wheels is missing or broken tooth, it's not going to stop. It's just it's going to stop at the same spot all the time. Yeah. And so what we need to do is we need to just expand, do things better. And I'm just hoping the citizens, come to realize that, the city still is struggle. Yes, it's not a perfect city. There's only in Calexico, the stigma that we have, I think, is a bunch of bullshit, and only in Calexico, we do a lot of things different. And for God takes care of us because we always come up on top. We have our hiccups, dude. Yes, we have people that are done wrong, but some of these people are in jail. Some of these people got fired. But you move on. You don't sit there and that's my thing is that I don't like seeing is, when council people or people in our cities keep on bringing up the past. How are you going to move forward, dude, if you don't bring up the past? And one of the things that people say and I hear it is, from the song Frozen, let it go. Just move on, dude. Let it go. If I were to sit here and over my 30 years and fester over all the stuff that I think was done wrong to me, I will be the unhappiest person in the world. But I look at the other way. I say, I'm a very optimistic person. I say, hey, man, look at all the good that's come out of this. So let's move forward.
Yeah. I think that's something that I kind of started doing like the last couple of years where like, you know what? You block out the, if it's something that's going to make you better, like constructive criticism, I'll take it. But when it's just somebody talking out of their ass,
and trying to bring you down, keep you down.
Yeah,
So you know what? For the last 2 years, in 2019, 2020, 2021, I bought at the beginning of the year, and my book's coming in from Amazon, and I buy a different one every year. But it's called 365 Days of Devotional Prayer for Men, or 365 Prayers for Men, and it's a 5-minute, not even 5-minute read, bro. And it starts with scripture, then it gives you like an example, a story, and then at the end it tells you, how does this affect you in your life, or how can you become a better person? Every day I read it, dude, and I start my day like that. I get up, get ready, right before I go to work, right in my kitchen, I get my book out, and it only takes not even 5 minutes. I read it, I read the scripture setting, and then I said, okay, and then it gives you an example, a modern day example, and then at the end it says, how does this, affect you, or how has it affected you, or what can you do to do this better? And you know what, dude, it starts off my day pretty neat because I'll be reflecting on it on the way home to work, and then I get to work pretty happy, and whatever happens, happens, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You can't, we all have agendas and we plan our days. Dude, mine goes out the window an hour within me getting to work.
Yeah.
Because it's like all these problems start coming in, or all these, not problems, just little hiccups we need to fix, people complaining here or something. And so I'm a problem solver. That's my number one. You're just solving problems all day. And I told my wife, I think that's what I'm going to miss the most is solving people's problems. But I need to get away with it because after a while, it does get.
Yeah, it eats at you for sure.
Yep.
So Chalo, we're almost an hour and a half talking.
Oh man, we can go on for like 10 hours with me
for sure.
Yeah.
And just wanted to give you a chance to say anything to people that like you, those haters, anything
Well, I mean, and you know what? Look, dude, people, you're not always gonna have people that like you, but those people that don't like me is like, you know what? I don't care. I mean, they can live their lives hating me or hating what I've done or what not done, or whatever idea they have about me. If they really knew me, at one point they liked me, or they got to know me, they like me. Mm-hmm. For all the people of Calexico, and I'll say it right here, I want to thank you with the bottom of my heart for allowing me to be, a police officer, an explorer, reserve, and ultimately your chief of police here. I'm a proud Calexican, will always be a proud Calexican, even if I end up moving somewhere after my kid goes to the military. But my roots will always be Calexico. And I thank the city of Calexico for always providing, me with a job, with a career where it paid my kids, upbringing, my expenditures, the insurance, everything that comes with a career. And the first thing, like I said, I thank you guys, but primary number one is I thank God for this great career. Number two, my family. Number three, this great country we live in. People don't realize how great it is to be in the United States, even though we have our differences of opinion. What other place can you go and stand out there and flip off the president of the United States, talk crap about other people in government? With another governments, you'd be executed. Dude, you can't even burn the American flag and you don't go to jail. I wouldn't do it, but hey, that's their choice. I mean, the rights that we have, you got to think that we have a good country. And then the community, like I said, that I work for, that's the people I thank. And I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to voice this, because I can't say it enough to how appreciated I am to have a chance to actually do my career here, dude. Yeah. And Calexico is awesome. And if you live in another city here in the valley that you don't think so, well, you know what? You never lived in Calexico.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because here, as divided as we might be at times up because of council, but doesn't reflect the population that lives here. The people that live here are very, very united. So that's it, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Chalo, thank you again thank you again for, coming on. Thank you for, serving our community. And like I said, I knew you, as a little kid in the Pichoneras. And I always saw you as somebody that was approachable, somebody that, was part of the community. And I think that, hopefully we get somebody like you, to replace you, because I think being part of the community is a huge part of serving the community well. And, there, like I said, there's haters out there because they don't agree with you with 100%, but, I don't agree with you in a lot of things 100%. And, I just know that at the end of the day, you're a good person. And you look out for the community. When, all these years you served as a police officer, you looked out for the best of Calexico. And, I appreciate it. And I wish you well in your retirement and whatever part-time job you get. Yeah. Maybe you can be a bartender here or something,
Oh no, I think I'm trying to left drinking beer, so I think you throwing me here would be a mistake.
Maybe you can become a whiskey, brew whiskey.
Yeah, whiskey connoisseur. Yeah. No, I'll become an Uber driver. Take all you guys. That way nobody gets a drunk driving or gets in an accident.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And all the shortcuts as well. So. Yeah. All right, Chalo. Well, thank you once again.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you in the next one. And if I don't see you till 2022, have a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I don't know. Hopefully, I'll do some interviews in the week. But I don't know. I'll be working a little bit, but I'll have some time in the afternoons. And I do want to I have people on the list that I want to talk to before the end of the year. So I'm hoping this is not the last episode of 2021. But if not, have a happy Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. All right, guys. Peace.